Hello, and thank you for joining us today as we explore ways to support distressed military students. My name is Ashley Kirwan, and I am the Military Access and Wellness Program Manager with Student Affairs at Ashford University. Prior to my time at Ashford, I worked as a marriage and family therapist supporting individuals who were survivors of trauma. In doing so, I was able to support those who might be suffering from PTSD and work towards healing in the face of trauma. In my role here at Ashford, I work cross-departmentally to put in place programming and resources for our military students to ensure they find success both in the classroom and beyond.
Hello, my name is James Bond, and I'm a student advocate with Student Affairs here at Ashford University. Before we begin discussing some of the characteristics of military-affiliated students, I would like to share with you some of my background working with military-affiliated students. I began my work with this population in earnest in 2011, opening the Center of Excellence for Veteran Student Success at National University in San Diego, California. Here's a photo of Dr. Fitch and I when we brought Operation College Promise to Ashford in 2013 in my role supporting veterans here. Here's also a photo of Dr. Patnott and I at Ashford's first military graduation ceremony, also in 2013. Lastly, here's a photo of me in 2014 opening UC San Diego's Student Veteran Center. I'm also active in the military nonprofit community. I've served on the board of the San Diego Veterans Coalition and Veterans Association of North County, each for 2 years. I was also sent on Veterans Day 2014 to Washington, D.C. with 2 colleagues to give a congressional briefing on how the UC system supports military students. I'm currently on the board of VetCTAP, a military nonprofit helping service members who are transitioning out of the military prepare for civilian jobs. Now let's discuss some of the signs to look for that may indicate trouble for military-affiliated students. One helpful way to think about this is to look at some of the most stressful events we go through in today's society. Here we have a list comprised by university hospitals in Ohio. Take a look at this list and realize it would not be uncommon to have a military-affiliated student in your class that is going through 3 or more of these events simultaneously, especially if they're transitioning. Let's hear a few veterans discuss their educational experiences in their own words.
I needed something to go do every day. I needed some sort of structure like what I had when I was in the Marine Corps.
When I started school, I didn't really have any idea of what I wanted to do. I just knew I had to do something now that I was out of the military. And GI Bill was fantastic because it got me in school.
You could say I went immediately from combat to classroom because it was weeks before I got out, and then maybe several months, and I was in the classroom physically with college students who maybe just graduated high school. It was very interesting.
You know, I'm almost 30, so the majority of them are getting out of high school, or even if they're not getting out of high school, they're pretty early 20s. And so their views on life are completely different.
I took it very seriously because my last job was being in combat. So I took that same intensity into the classroom with me and put it towards the books and studying and what have you. And the guy sitting next to me was obviously not as serious or focused.
You have people that don't seem to, they take for granted the things that you know, like no longer take for granted, i.e. being, subordinate to your professor, being on time, doing things, just for the sake of getting them done. And I think the hardest thing with transitioning is that you want to be a civilian, you want to have the freedom, but then you also want to have that underlying structure.
Unfortunately, I couldn't focus on school, so I was not paying attention to my grades. I stopped caring about my grades. I stopped caring to go to school. And at that point, I realized, I was like, wait, my goals are not going to be able to be achieved. I need to go see somebody because there's something I'm not paying attention to.
I ran into another guy who was about the same age, and we just kind of looked at each other, and I was like, Army, Marine? He was like, I was in the Marines. And we were instantly good friends. And so I kind of started building that support network up. We were leaving class one day, and he was like, hey dude, by the way, you should probably check out student services for their, they have counseling. Like I go to it from time to time.
Now I'd like to share responses I received from an online site that I go to get feedback from actual veterans going through transition. This is a response I received from the Facebook group Vigilant Guard. Here's a list of common signs of potential problems. Next, my colleague Ashley will discuss PTS and how to recognize symptoms in veteran students.
As we begin our discussion of supporting our distressed military students, it's important to first understand who our military students are, the unique challenges they may be facing as a military student, and so on. Roughly 25% of our student population is military, and we define military broadly to include active duty service members, veterans, military spouses, and dependents. Additionally, we consider the variables that our military students might be facing, including deployments, frequent moves, transitioning out of the military, and living on military installations across the country and abroad. Understanding these unique circumstances allows us to better support our military students by tailoring programs and supports to the things that might have the biggest impact on them while they are in school. Additionally, as a military-friendly university, we are committed to working alongside our military students to ensure they are well supported. Understanding who our military students are also involves understanding why a military student might choose to attend school online. Some of the reasons include the flexibility associated with earning a degree while serving one's country. Students might also be working towards a degree as a means to earn a promotion. Students may find that due to frequent moves, an online program is the best fit for them and can come with them, so to speak, as they relocate. And finally, for our students who are working towards a degree while managing symptoms of service-connected disabilities, online programs are often more accessible than attending at a ground campus. As I mentioned, there are a number of reasons why military students may choose an online program. But for the sake of today's discussion, we want to consider the students who may face distress as it relates to service-connected injuries and the type of support they may need from all of us. It's not uncommon that symptoms of PTSD present in an online setting, and students regularly reach out to faculty and staff for support. The following passage comes directly from a request for accommodation that a student suffering from PTSD submitted. I suffer from a severe case of PTSD. Due to my PTSD, I can never get on a sleep schedule. I have not been able to work since 2012, and I can only get out of the house a few times a year for doctor's appointments. I'm incapable of socializing, my brain does not operate as sharply as it used to, and I tend to forget things. When I do sleep, at times I cannot get out of bed, and may be in bed for up to 24 hours at a time. I'm constantly on edge and worry that everyone around me is a terrorist. I have a wandering mind, and I need help. As you can tell from this request, the student is in need of support and is very connected to the things that are impacting him, both in the classroom and in his life as a whole. Service-connected disabilities can present in an online setting in a number of different ways, and the key to offering support to a student who may be in distress is to first be able to recognize when symptoms might arise. Ways in which it may become evident include the things you can observe, as well as recognizing things that are challenging to the student and may include difficulty concentrating or retaining information, impulsivity, perhaps displayed in a discussion forum or through email, being triggered by various components of the learning environment or classroom, and having difficulty navigating technology. As a support person committed to supporting our military students, it's not only important for you to be able to recognize when a student may be struggling, but also that you know how to offer support. In addition to validating their experience and being open to having them share with you, it's important that you also know the right direction to point them in. The Office of Student Access and Wellness provides support and resources for students with disabilities and medical conditions. This is done through the implementation of accommodations that are designed to remove academic barriers that arise due to disability. Examples of accommodations include extended time to submit weekly coursework, course materials provided in accessible format, and advocacy for students during times of medical impact. And as the narrative I read earlier illustrated, PTSD is a pervasive, debilitating disorder that can have a tremendous impact on a student. With that said, what we do know about the men and women who serve our country is that they are resilient and possess a great deal of fortitude. Oftentimes, with the right support and an attitude that communicates that you care, students can find great success and overcome the barriers that have been challenging to them.
From my lens, teamwork is the only effective way to support this demographic. In our situation with so many colleagues spread out across the nation, it can be difficult to establish relationships, but that is what we have to do. I have to know faculty and work with as many faculty, staff, and administrators on as many collaborative projects as possible so that people know how I am and can reach out to me when necessary to support students. Likewise, I can reach out for their expertise. As much work as I've done in this community, without colleagues like Ashley, Johnny, Matt, Dr. Hardy, and Ben, I couldn't help our students to the extent that I do. So besides what you see on the screen here, I'd like to add, share something about yourself in your course intro. Maybe about a pet, your family birth order, anything that gives a student something to reach out to, and you can be one of those faculty members that students share issues with and come to for support. So thank you so much for your time. Please use me for a resource. If you have collaborative projects, know that I'm always open. So Ashley and I are here for you. Thank you very much.